okay? And we're fighting just along with you. We've also been raped. I guess it may have started with some scheme sometime around before 9/11, and somehow you guys have seen pictures of towers falling, free fall. I don't buy it. I'm a physicist, and it doesn't work for me. Woo! If you've seen the towers falling from behind, it's impossible for them to fall at that rate. It's just simply impossible. I watched those buildings burn. For 4 months, the smoke came up. The only thing that can do that is a military-grade explosive called Technovite. And my brother is a first responder. He's a hero, and he was part of the FEMA group going up there. He got stopped at the end not to go there. My brother's a City of Miami Firefighter of the Year 3 years in a row. He's a hotshot. And bottom line is, all of his friends that went are all sick, and they're dying from the stuff from ground zero. Let's not forget them. I'm an intellectual, so let's say from my observation what happened was we had an $18 trillion surplus right before President Bush stole the election from Al Gore, using the judiciary to steal a popular election and give it to the party that bought it. His daddy was the president of the CIA, then he was the president, and then somehow they got back and they stole it. And what I can figure is the $18 trillion was a way, we needed to start a war, and somewhere around 1999 they had a paper from Rumsfeld and Cheney saying that we needed another Pearl Harbor, an event to galvanize the United States so that we would give up our civil rights because of fear, and we would trade security for freedom. And that was one. The second thing is that they needed to radically change the military, and they did that. The third reason was more Machiavellian. It was a way to legally funnel off $18 trillion into a war and more reconstruction. And then, once they were in trouble, to keep borrowing and borrow another $18 trillion. The gentleman before said we had lost $2 billion. From my calculation, they've ripped us off for about $50 trillion. And that was our children's heritage. My kid's heritage, your kid's heritage. I can say that. That's BS. I'm the son of a Cuban immigrant. Woo! My dad was sent by my grandfather before the revolution because my grandfather didn't want him fighting in that and got him the hell out of Cuba and shipped him to New York at 14. At the age of 14, he was on his streets on his own, had his own apartment, did his own work at 14. My dad never graduated high school, yet he made sure that all his sons went to school. Thank you, Daddy. Okay? He worked his ass off, just like the gentleman said. Saw my dad sweating so that his sons could go to school. Okay? So, let me give some information back. The scenario is with this raping of the land. Right now we're in a situation where we're at. Einstein said that the revolutions of the future could only be fought through nonviolent means. The day we lift the hands to beat them, they'll kick our ass, and they're ready for us. If you remember India, how India got liberated, there was a line of Indians nonviolently going up to British cannon fire, and they would shoot them one by one, men, women, and children, and the next one would drop, and the next one would drop, and there'd be a fucking pile this big, and the British soldiers were crying because of what they had to do. Go read history. If you don't read history, you're condemned. You're gonna repeat it, damn it. Wake up, okay? I'm here, my death threat was because I've been involved with a lot of weird shit all my life. Like I said, I have 2 animal hospitals in town, Animal Hospital Baldwin Park and Lake Mary. And I met a Russian-French physicist about 2 years ago. And he came to my office, and he had been working with a cure for cancer. And it works, according to him. And I said, dude, nobody has a cure for cancer. I said, I could guarantee it, doctor, just listen. And he says, I've talked to 50 veterinarians, and I don't know how many doctors, and they're giving me the runaround. And I'm just here for a health certificate. And I go, sure, dude, what you got? I said, doc, if it does 10% of what you do, what it says it does, I'll get one. I did. I've been working with it for 2 years. I'm now a clinical researcher and in charge of clinical research for oncology using molecular hyperthermia for the United States. And this is what I have to say. I've gone in front of doctors who I've shown my data for. I've shown them a tumor, an osteosarcoma of the head falling off in my hand. I've showed them paralyzed dogs moving within 7 minutes and repeated over 20, 30 times. I have video of all this. I'm not making this shit up. I'm here in front of you. Look at my face. Okay? Woo! And these sons of bitches have told me, Doc, Why would I buy that $50,000 piece of shit when it's going to put my $5 million proton accelerator, it's going to make it obsolete. I won't be able to pay back my investment. Did you hear that? And I looked at him and I said, they're children and you're burning them. It's my grandmother, it's my mother, you son of a bitch, that died of lymphoma and of the complications of the disease. They said, Doc, please don't let this get out till I retire. And I go, really? You're going to retire while they're dying? And you're burning them. So this is not just about Occupy Wall Street. And here's another thing. As far as the intellect goes, I warn you the following. I warn you. Go back and look at the latest data coming back from the Mayan fall. What happened to the Mayan Empire? It's really similar to what's going on with us right now. Here's the scenario. From what they're picking up was, they didn't know why they disappeared into the jungle. This is what happened. They were in the jungle, and these guys were starting to run out of food and resources because they grew too fast in the jungle. And then what happened was, they started sacrificing to the gods, another sacrifice and another sacrifice, and finally people got tired of praying to the gods and giving up their kids and a big bloodbath for crops that weren't coming because they didn't know how to rotate and they had outgrown their city-state. So they got mad. And everybody went to revolution. And you know what they did? They did a violent revolution and they killed all the kings and all the priestcraft. They cut their heads off. They were done. But the people had become dependent on the system and they knew how to run it. And the moment that they killed the intellect, the whole thing went to crap and they went back to the jungle. So my warning is this: as we take over Wall Street, let's convince them to work with us and to change the rules so that everybody eats. One reason is, otherwise we're killing ourselves. We become, I mean, for God's sake, where's my cell phone? I can't live without it. Are you following me? We have scenarios where we can live in symbiosis with this. It's about realigning. Maybe not destroying Wall Street, because honestly, parts of the system work. Parts of the system suck. Those are the ones we need to work on. Are you following me? As far as medicine goes, A, it's hypocrisy. B, I can tell you, my God, look, I'll spill the beans. Chemotherapy in a dog. Let's talk about that. A specialist